How y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah, I would like to applaud y'all for just being here in a public speaking class, because there is no skill that you will learn in college that will put more money in your pocket than learning how to be a public speaker and how to go out and talk to people and be effective. It's just a money-making skill, but it's oftentimes it's indirect money. For instance, your photography, who's the photography guy? The photography guy, as you get into photography and you get pretty good, you start going out and talking to people about how good you are, and that's how you get more clients. And so that's worked for me absolutely my entire career. But I will tell you this, of all the skills that you need in public speaking, one of the things you need to do is learn to put humor in your presentation. Lots of people go talk for 20, 30, 40 minutes and not a snicker in a room. And that is just a bummer. So y'all think about this. I just attended a 2-day seminar at the North Carolina Real Estate Commission put on in Raleigh. 2 days, 16 hours of presentations, one joke. And it was an attorney joke, which they don't count because don't ever tell attorney jokes. Throw them out the window. But learn to put some humor in your presentation. Now, everybody doesn't have to be able to, people say, oh, I can't tell jokes. Well, you don't have to tell jokes. I was down in Florida at a continuing education seminar, and you know you're going to be bored all day. But about 2:30, this guy comes up, and he was a dreadfully boring speaker. He had a dreadfully boring topic. But about 20 minutes into the presentation, he clicks his slide projector, and a slide comes up and says, insert humor here. I thought, well, this is great. And he told us, he said, I apologize, I'm not a funny speaker, but I got a movie for y'all. And he showed a 1-minute movie. Spontaneous applause. It was absolutely fabulous. It was just a joke. And he did one every 20 minutes, just as we were dozing off. The slide would come up that said, insert humor here, and he played another. Now, another thing you can do, because see what happens is people don't want to put humor in their presentation because they are afraid that it's not going to be funny. Well, here's one way you can do that, get away from that, is credit your humor to somebody else. And the best example you will ever see of that happened on TV last week at John McCain's funeral. I hope y'all watched that. It was on every channel for 24 hours. But Joe Lieberman gets up at the funeral, and he told a joke. But he didn't just tell the joke. He said this was one of John McCain's favorite jokes. I've heard him tell it several times. And he told about these 2 inmates that are in prison walking through the cafeteria line. And one inmate says to the other inmate, you know, the food here is just terrible. And the other inmate said, yeah, it was better back when I was governor. It says in my notes, pause for laughter. And I think it said in Joe Lieberman's joke, pause for laughter, but just like, yeah, that wasn't a snicker. But that's okay, because it wasn't his joke. It was John McCain's joke. I hired an instructor one time, and I told her, I said, Barbara, you've got to tell jokes in class. She said, okay, Ron. So she would tell the students, she said, oh, it's 1 o'clock. I have to tell a joke. Ron says I have to tell a joke, and here's the joke Ron told me to tell. And she'd tell a joke. Whether it was funny or not wasn't her problem. But humor doesn't have to be jokes. There's all kinds of other humor you can have. I went to a presentation last week, and the guy was talking something about agriculture. And he said, he puts up on the slide a bumper sticker that says, eat local food. Y'all seen this bumper sticker? He said, this bumper sticker is on every car in Asheville. And everybody laughed because he was right. I've seen that bumper sticker a dozen times. And then he put up the bumper sticker of his organization. And he says, this bumper sticker is on 3 cars in Asheville. And that was funny because I'd never seen it. But humor doesn't have to be a joke. But also, one of the dilemmas that people have about telling jokes is, should we tell jokes in the first person? By the way, at Toastmasters, and Stan mentioned Toastmasters, this is a club that Stan and I belong to that is a lifelong thing. I've been in it forever. And it just teaches you how to get better as you go along. But at Toastmasters, they tell us don't tell jokes in the first person, that it attacks your credibility. Well, I guess that's true. But you know, once in a while, I just have weird stuff happen to me. Do y'all do that? I was down in Miami about 2 years ago. I was down in Miami, and I hate Miami. I don't know about y'all, but they can just blow that place right off the map. But down in Miami, I had a lunch date with this guy, stood me up, and so I'm headed back to catch my 2:30 plane, get to the airport, it's under construction, I was starving to death, wanted to get something to eat, nowhere to get anything to eat, and so finally I went to the gift shop and they had this display of animal crackers. So I bought me a box of animal crackers, and I went down to wait for my plane, I'm sitting there waiting for the plane, and I was working on this test that I had to have ready for Monday morning. So I'm sitting there and I got all my stuff spread out, looked pretty much like this table here, and I had my animal cracker sitting on the chair next to me. And I'd reach over and get a cracker. And there's a little boy about 3 years old with his mother sitting in the next two chairs. Well, he reaches over and gets one of my animal crackers. Well, I looked at her and she looked at me. And he gets another animal cracker. I had another one and he gets another one. And pretty soon I looked, there's only one animal cracker left. I thought, surely that brat's not going to get my last cracker. Well, his mother reaches out across him, grabs the last cracker, breaks it in two, hands him half, and offers me half. Well, about that time, they called for my plane, so I got on the plane, got my stuff together, got airborne. I said, well, I better get back to work on this test. Opened up my briefcase, and there was my box of animal crackers in my briefcase. Those darn Miami people. By the way, another warning, I guess, if you are going to put jokes in your presentation, and I see this rule violated all the time, be careful who the idiot is in the joke. Because jokes always have an idiot. Well, if you're talking to the Realtors Convention, don't make Mr. Realtor the idiot in the joke. If you're talking to the Bankers Convention, don't make Mr. Banker the idiot in the joke. And definitely don't pick out your teacher and make them the idiot in the joke. That's a real bad plan. So, and people do this all the time at meetings. I've seen people do it, and don't do that. But get the fear that your joke won't be funny out of your life. Just forget about it. It doesn't have to be funny. If it makes a point, or even if it doesn't make a point, it often just loosens people up. It just gives them a minute to relax. And by the way, another thing you can do if you say, well, I can't tell a joke. Well, read a joke. You know, just get the joke right out of the Reader's Digest and say, y'all look like you need a joke. I'm going to read this joke to you. My brother goes over to Dillon, South Carolina, and he brings me back these newspapers, has a whole page of jokes. And Dick will tell you, I do that in class every once in a while. I look out there and say, man, y'all look bad. And I'll reach under the podium and grab one of those newspapers and just read a 40-word joke. And some of them are funny, some of them are not, but it kind of breaks the mood if things are going bad. But anyway, let me say this. If you're learning to speak, and I assume that's why you're here, and if you're going to continue to do this the rest of your career, and please, please do, because you will never find anything that will promote your career better than going out and speaking to people. And in today's world, putting YouTube videos. I have YouTube videos that have been viewed 50,000 times. That has to enhance my career. I get emails from all over the state thanking me for my email videos. I had a guy call me the other day, ask me if I would coach him over the phone. I said, sure, if you send me $500, the check showed up yesterday. And so that was from some videos that I posted 3 or 4 years ago. And so there's a lot of opportunities going to come to you from being a good public speaker, or even a mediocre public speaker that knows how to promote yourself. And so I would urge all of y'all, but put some humor in your presentation. Thank you all for listening.
Okay, take about 4 minutes to give some comments.